Other school climate and leadership factors shape the effectiveness of the selected mindfulness interventions as well. For teachers, this is certainly cause for concern, especially if you work in an institution which doesn't support or discourage mindfulness. This lack of support from the school administration might be an indication of there being either no time or physical space for the practice of mindfulness. On the other hand, the schools that embrace the culture of mindfulness are more likely to provide a better platform for such interventions for the following reasons. On one hand, such schools provide every single thing that teachers need, while in contrast they draw attention to the significance of being mindful in learning institutions. Overall, it is important to point out that mindfulness intervention for students has statistically sound positive effects, but for teachers, the practice of the intervention is accompanied by a variety of challenges. Being of the time constraint, students' diversities.
Take a look outside a window. What is the season where you are? How do you know? Most likely, you looked at a tree or plant and noticed details about its leaves and assessed the qualities of sunlight streaming outside. Observing the timing of biological events in relation to changes in season and climate is called phenology. When you notice the daffodil buds are poking through the snow and think spring is on its way, you're using phenology. When you see leaves turn from green to red, and watch migrating birds fly past, and realize that summer is over, autumn is here, you're using phenology. Literally meaning, the science of appearance, phenology comes from the Greek words, pheno, to show or appear, and logos, to study. Humans have relied on phenology since the time of hunters and gatherers. We've watched changes in seasons to know when to plant and harvest food and when to track migrating animals. Scientists observe and document seasonal changes in nature and look for patterns in the timing of seasonal events. Timing of these natural signs has remained consistent until recently. Increasing global temperature is causing rhythms of nature to shift. Bud burst, the day when a tree or plant's leaf or flower buds open, is occurring earlier in the year for some species. For every 1 degree Celsius rise in temperature, bud burst happens 5 days earlier than usual. Differences in timing affect not only plants, but the insects and birds that depend on the plants for food.
Carbon dioxide, or CO2, is the main greenhouse gas in climate change. So how does CO2 get into our atmosphere? Well, carbon is part of a cycle. It starts with the sun, which hits the Earth's surface with more energy in 1 hour than the whole world uses in a year. Plants, which are kind of like biological chefs, take that sunlight and then suck in some CO2 from the air, mix them together, and bam! They create a stored form of energy, in the form of carbohydrates, such as glucose and sucrose. The process is called photosynthesis. When animals like us eat those plants, our stomachs convert that food back into energy for our own growth. Greenhouse gases are a byproduct of this process and are released through waste. If those plants die, they decompose, and tiny microorganisms break down those carbohydrates and again release greenhouse gases as a byproduct. As you see, energy originates from the sun and is then transferred as it moves through the food chain. But sometimes, carbon-based organisms, like plants or animals, get stuck in the earth. When this happens, they're compressed under tons of pressure and turned into carbon-based fossil fuels like oil, coal, or natural gas.
Good morning. It's 6:30 on Tuesday, the 7th of January. Welcome to Breakfast. Petroc Trelawney with you. Coming up this morning, Beethoven from Messrs. Axe, Kavakos and Marr. Daniel in the Lion's Den, a new recording of Scarlatti from the Armonico Consort. Germaine Taillefer writes for harp, and clarinetist Anneline Van Wouwer plays Mozart. Let's start with the news headlines. Lisa Costello is here this morning. Good morning, Lisa.
Good morning, Petroc. The former detective Maggie Oliver, who resigned from Greater Manchester Police because of the way the force handled cases of grooming gangs, has said legislation announced by the Home Secretary last night is a knee-jerk reaction to recent headlines. Yvette Cooper told MPs that it will become an offence for people in authority to fail to report allegations of child sexual abuse. At least 53 people have been killed after an earthquake struck the Chinese region of Tibet. 62 others have been injured. Tremors were felt in Nepal and parts of India. The Equality and Human Rights Commission says it's received 300 more complaints about workplace harassment at McDonald's since a BBC investigation 2 years ago. A McDonald's
Today, let's turn our focus to the bedrock of collaborative success, teamwork. In the realm of education, it's teamwork that often propels us from the theoretical to the practical, from individual knowledge to collective wisdom. Engaging in teamwork enhances our learning experiences. It encourages the exchange of ideas, allowing us to gain multiple perspectives on a single topic. Research from educational psychology suggests that students who study in groups tend to develop stronger communication skills and understand material more deeply than those who work alone. Teamwork also mirrors the realities of the professional world. Rarely do we see isolated efforts in workplaces. Instead, it's the synergy of a team that drives innovation and success. By mastering the art of collaboration now, we are setting ourselves up for future triumphs in whatever careers we choose to pursue. As we continue on our academic journey, let's embrace every opportunity to join forces with our peers. Together, we are stronger, wiser, and more capable than we could ever be alone.